Ironically, the same observation of what you would see if you go out into space and go as furthest as possible away from the Earth and its galaxy, and now met by a neighboring galaxy, met by another neighboring galaxy, all form together to form one single cluster of stars. And so space has no contextual measure of a certain quantitative measure. You can't say like, well, up is here and down is there. Things start losing their quantitative measure in space. You can discern how a thing moves. Water starts moving in a weird way, and things that are supposed to fall down start going up, and things that go up are going down. And it's just this mix and match everything. It's a pure abstract state, ultimately. And more abstractly than that, what we say is happening at the microscopic levels. The microscopic levels of space are not vast and distant and slow in time. The general activation of time, the general, what we call is the principle of time, the ongoing principle of time, that time is always ongoing and never stops. In that sense, we say time is eternal, and that all things are happening within time in different ways, the content of time, the objects of space, and these contexts are exhibiting opposite determinations than every other object that's a part of a whole of objects constituting different determinations from each other. That general happening, we use that in intervals to measure the world: an hour, 10 hours, 24 hours, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. A lifetime has an internal element in the world, an element internal in each and everything. We call it the essence of time. Everything degenerates into time, generates within time. Everything comes into being within time and then degenerates out into being. And this process of coming into being and then going out of being, we say has no source, which is ultimately to say, well, we don't know where it comes from. We have no knowledge of the origination of that process. And it's coming into being spontaneously, we say, which is exactly the same description of how we say an idea comes into being. An idea comes from nowhere. It just comes into the mind, into being. That idea coming into being and going out of being. And you know it's there, but you can only represent it with what you directly observe into the world. But you know what it is, you know what it told you. That's thought as a process itself. What thinking is, the substance of reason. It has infinite form, infinite manner, infinite energy. And it doesn't reduce, it doesn't degenerate, nor does it degenerate. It just exists. Energy cannot be made or created or destroyed, ultimately. It just can be altered.